everyone. Today in the NHL, there was a trade. And not one of those crazy trades with a lot of moving parts or anything like that. It was a quite simple one-for-one deal. Today, the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Los Angeles Kings announced that forward Carl Hagelin would be going to the Kings, with Tanner Pearson going to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, the Penguins will be retaining a small portion of Carl Hagelin's salary, but he is a free agent this year. Meanwhile, Tanner Pearson will be a free agent in 2021, I believe. And I love this trade, not just because it's a one-for-one trade, but also because it's a trade between two struggling teams who need to regain their identities. And personally, I thought it was pretty funny because Jim Rutherford, the general manager of the Pittsburgh Penguins, actually signed a 3-year contract extension today. And he alluded to a trade in his press conference and mentioned the details were not worked out and said it was quite complex. When in reality, it was a very simple trade, especially for Jim Rutherford standards. But I really like the move that both Rutherford and Kings general manager Rob Blake recognized that the team was both of their teams were in dire straits. You figure these are two teams who've won Stanley Cups in the past 5 years, and both Pearson and Hagelin were key members of those Stanley Cup teams, Hagelin being a part of the famous HBK line with Nick Bonino and Phil Kessel, and Tanner Pearson mainly playing with Jeff Carter and Tyler Toffoli. And I think these are two good players who are just in need of scenery changes, and that happens. Obviously, there are some players who are meant to be with certain franchises, but the reality is most players change teams quite often. And I think these are two players who will bring a lot to their new teams. I see Hagelin, he's one of the fastest players in the league. He'll bring that speed over to the Pacific, whereas Pearson, I think, will bring a level of stability. So I think it's a great move for both teams. I'm excited with what they can do with each of those players, and hopefully both of those teams can right their ships, because I don't think the window for either one of them has necessarily closed for the Stanley Cup, and Jim Rutherford's actually said that himself, and I'm sure Rob Blake feels the same way about the Kings. I think both teams' issues are manageable and can be fixed rather quickly, but at the same time, I think the Penguins' fix will happen more quickly than the Kings' fix, but I think both teams do have manageable issues. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Also, make sure to like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.